So you're thinking about building a brand new home here in Queen Creek, Arizona. Well, let me tell you, this town is booming with gorgeous neighborhoods, top-notch amenities, and plenty of opportunities to build your own dream home. But here's the thing, building a brand new home isn't just picking out a floor plan and a lot. There are big decisions that have to be made, there's pitfalls that have to be avoided, and there's insider tips that you need to know that will help you save time and money. And so in this video, I'm going to break down everything that you need to know before building a new home. Everything from choosing the right builder to negotiating the best deal. And we'll also talk about even some of the upgrades that you'll actually end up thanking yourself for later. And whether you're moving locally or you're coming from out of state someplace, stick around because I've got some tips that you're going to want to hear. So, ready? Let's get into this. Now, we all know it's cliche, location, 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 but really that is true. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the location. Queen Creek is growing fast, so there are a lot of amazing neighborhoods for you to choose from. Legato, for example, has a mix of family-friendly amenities like parks and tot lots and sports courts, and they even have a catch-and-release fishing lake. Harvest offers lakeside living and resort-style pools, while Barney Farms is known for its massive clubhouse, community lake, and huge aquatic center. So each community is going to have its own vibe, so you really need to consider which vibe matches your particular lifestyle. And you know, beyond the specific community itself, you got to think about what's nearby. Do you have grocery stores, schools, dining, shopping within the immediate area? I mean, something simple like a 10-minute drive as opposed to a 20-minute drive actually can make a big difference. And here's a pro tip for you. Make sure you check out the surrounding area for future developments. Queen Creek is growing, and there are some areas of town that are quieter than others. And in some areas, you might be faced with new shopping centers, lots of road work, expanding the roadways, and heck, maybe even a new school or two being built. Now, let's talk a little bit about the builders, because not all builders are alike. Some builders, such as Mattamy Homes and Shea Homes, they offer customizable floor plans, while Toll Brothers, for example, offers more of a luxury style and more luxury and upgraded options. Now, if affordability is what you're looking for, then D.R. Horton and Lennar might be some builders you want to take a look at. And all of these builders, plus many more, have communities throughout the Queen Creek and Santan Valley area for you to take a look at and see which one actually fits you and your needs. Now, of course, you're going to want to visit as many of these model homes as you can because you want to get a really good feel for the builder's style and for their quality. But remember, the model home, it's going to be decked out to impress. Things like the flooring and the cabinets and the countertops, they often look amazing in the model because they're usually really highly upgraded, and they're probably not going to be what you'll find in your standard build. And so it's always good to find out from the sales agent, what's the standard features of the home, what's included, and what are upgrades. And also, this one's important, you don't want to skip the research phase. Look up the builder's reviews online, and although I think those need to be maybe taken with a grain of salt, because I believe only a small portion of customers who maybe had a bad experience will leave a whole bunch of negative reviews, while the majority of those who had a great experience tend not to leave any reviews at all. But checking the reviews online at least gives you a general feel for the quality and the style of the builder. Also, another great thing to do, and this is where you're going to get probably the most truthful and accurate information, is talk to some of the neighbors who are already living in that community and ask about what their experience was like when they were building their home. All right, so now let's talk numbers. You know, the base price of the home, it might be really attractive, but you got to keep in mind that that's just the starting point. Perhaps you stopped in at a community because you saw a sign out front that said homes from the, I don't know, 400,000. Well, it's important to know that the price listed on that sign or on the price sheet or even on the builder's website is a base price. That from the price, that's for the smallest home on the smallest lot without any upgrades whatsoever. So that's just kind of the starting point for that community. Now keep in mind the lots also are going to typically have some type of a premium attached to them. Some lots that might be a little bit bigger, maybe it's a corner lot, it's in a cul-de-sac, it's got a view, whatever it is that makes that lot just a little bit better than a basic lot, it's going to have a premium value assigned to it. And sometimes lot premiums can be $5,000. They can go up to $50,000 depending on the lot or the community. In fact, there's one builder here who has lakeside lots with $250,000 lot premiums to be right on the water. And then, of course, we have to consider all of the interior options and those decisions that you need to make, because you've got so many options to go through and things to pick out. You've got flooring and cabinetry and countertops and tile or whatever. And of course, the homes all come with that stuff in their basic configuration, but is that the style and the look and the feel that you're actually looking for? For example, let's say you wanted to upgrade your basic flooring to something along the lines of the vinyl plank flooring. Well, to do that upgrade throughout the house could cost you $10,000 or more. So you got to keep that kind of stuff in mind and add that into your budget. Most buyers, they spend maybe 10 to 18%, 12 to 18% of the base price of their home on these upgrades. Oh, and don't forget about the backyard landscaping, the window coverings, the ceiling fans. In most cases, none of that's included, so that's another additional expense. You know, there is one bright spot here, and that is many builders are actually offering buyer incentives, and these incentives come in the form of interest rate buy downs or maybe money to be used towards your closing costs. So what does that mean? Well, basically an interest rate buy down is when the builder contributes money on behalf of the buyer to buy down the interest rate to a lower interest rate. So how does that even work? Well, each mortgage interest point typically costs 1% of the total value of the home loan, and that 1 point will bring the interest rate down by 0.25%. So for example, if you've got a $500,000 mortgage that you're looking at with a 6.5% interest rate, and you want to buy it down, it's going to cost $5,000, that's 1%, to buy it down 1 point, which will bring it down 0.25%. So your interest rate goes from 6.5 to 6.25%. And right now, builders are buying it down to 4.99% in a lot of cases, and there are even some builders who are currently offering 3.99% 30-year fixed interest rates, but those are based on very specific homes that they need to sell within a certain time frame. You know, building a house takes time. Usually build times are running between maybe 6 to 10 months, but you really should be prepared to expect some delays because there's always going to be something that's going to come up. There might be a supply chain issue or weather delays. Now, a good builder is going to stay on top of that and keep you informed, but it's not a bad idea for you to check in from time to time as well. Now, keep in mind, you can overdo it on these check-ins, and you don't want to irritate the builder. Now, if you have a home to sell first or you're relocating here, it's a good idea to maybe build in a little bit of buffer time into your timeline. It's better to have a temporary place to stay, even if you do have to make 2 moves, because that's way better than finding yourself between homes with nowhere to go for a week or 2. Now, I touched on this just a moment ago, but now let's take a closer look at the upgrades. This is where the fun and the expense all begin. So you want to focus on the structural upgrades or options first, things like adding a bedroom, extending a patio, things that are going to be really difficult, if not impossible, to do later. And these choices are typically made at the time that you're signing your purchase contract. And then you go to the design center, and this is where you pick out all of your interior upgrades. This is where most buyers will upgrade their flooring, their kitchens, their countertops, maybe the bathrooms. You can also upgrade your light fixtures, the fans, the plumbing fixtures, and really the list does go on and on. But be careful because it's really easy to go overboard here, and so you got to keep that in mind. Now, you don't have to upgrade anything at all, but most people, as I said a moment ago, maybe 12 to 18% of the base price of the home is what they're spending on their upgrades as well. Now, you also want to consider which upgrades you want the builder to do, and maybe what upgrades you can do yourself later, like a backsplash or something, after you've already moved into the home. You know, a lot of people think that they don't need to use a realtor when they're buying a new construction home, but here's the deal. That sales agent who sits there in the office and treats you all friendly and happily, Well, they work for the builder, so they don't work for you. Now, of course, they've got a duty and a responsibility to treat you fairly and to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, when it comes right down to it, their loyalty is with the person that signs their paycheck. And who's that? The builder. And so having a realtor on your side gives you somebody who represents you and your best interests, can help guide you through the process, and can negotiate the deal on your behalf. And what about those builder contracts? I've seen some that are 120 pages or more, and believe me, those builder contracts, they are all slanted heavily to favor the builder and not so many rights or protections for the buyer. So again, it's really important that you have your own representation, and here's the best part, is in almost all cases, the builder actually pays the buyer's agent compensation. So why wouldn't you want to have somebody representing you? Now, even though it's a brand new home, home inspections are critical. You want to hire an independent home inspector during certain key phases of the build process. You might want to have one check the foundation right at the very beginning of the build process. Another time you want to have a home inspection is done is when it's at the framing stage, just like this, before the drywall goes up. That way you can see everything that's going to be behind the walls. And then lastly, you want to have a home inspection done about a week prior to actually closing on your home. Now, if you can only do one inspection, then I recommend the pre-drywall or the framing inspection. That's the one that's probably the most critical because again, once that drywall goes up, you don't know what's back there. So what about the HOAs and the amenities? Now, every new build community here in Queen Creek is gonna have an HOA. And so it's really important that you learn beforehand what the rules are, what the fees are, and you know what you can and can't do on your property. Now, every builder is going to provide you with a copy of the CC&Rs, that's the HOA rules, before you sign on the dotted line. So you'll be able to go through those if you want and see and familiarize yourself with the actual HOA rules. Now, a lot of communities offer great amenities like the fishing lakes and the community centers and the resort style pools, but those all have a cost. You know, those communities are going to have a higher HOA, so it's worth considering if you're going to use those amenities or not, and if those amenities are something that are worthwhile to you. So keep that kind of stuff in mind as well. Now, you might say that this is your forever home, and so you really don't have an interest in things that are going to help the resale value later on down the road. Well, I said that once, that this was our forever home, and that was actually 4 homes ago. So things do change, plans change. So considering what the resale value might be down the road and how your options and design choices factor into that might be something to keep in mind. So you want to consider the open concepts, maybe the upgraded kitchens, all the things that are kind of in right now, because these are the things that are going to attract future buyers if you ever come to the point where you want to sell. And keep in mind, Queen Creek is growing, and so that too could help boost the value of your home. And so, building a home is really an exciting process, but it's also a big investment. So I hope that this video gave you maybe the tools and the confidence to move forward and navigate this building process. Now, if you're moving to Queen Creek and you're coming from across town or clear across the country, we are your East Valley relocation specialists, and we would absolutely love to help you. We can help you with new build communities such as this. We can help you with resale homes. We could even help you sell your current home. Now, we do offer free consultations, and I'll put my contact information at the end of this video, but there's also a link in the description of the video. Just click on that link and you can schedule your own private Zoom call with me. Now, if you're more comfortable doing the text thing or the email, that's fine. The point is, let's just get together and talk. Now, if you want to know more about things that you can do to help calm your nerves and ease your mind during the new build process, then this video right here is the one you want to look at. And this one here, this is a must-watch video because this is the best tour of Queen Creek that you're going to find anywhere on YouTube. At least I think so.